All right, well, here we are again. Like I said in the last couple of videos, I'm in another hotel room. I know, shocker, right? But here we go again. This is something I'm starting to enjoy. Not so much the hotel room part, but the whole YouTubing thing. It's kind of fun. It's a little weird, but I don't know. It's kind of fun. So last week we talked about who's at your table, and one of the things that I really wanted to do with this channel was to start to kind of talk about the things that people don't talk about, right? Like, I wanted to bring up social issues and men's health issues and writing the book and the whys and the hows and just kind of shed some light on some of the things that don't really get talked about. But one of the big ones with me was sobriety, which honestly, I'm still a bit shocked by it. I'm coming up on my 4th year, and in reality, I probably should have done a video like this about 2.5 years ago, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to talk about it, and that's because it's one of them things that honestly I was embarrassed. I really was. I was embarrassed that I was not in control of my own life. As much bullshit as I put out there and as much as I pretended like I was all right, I knew it, and just about 99% of everybody else knew that I was not all right. But it didn't always start off bad. It really didn't. When I was going to parties at the riverbed and we were getting bums or some rando to buy us beers and shit, that was your average valley boy party where it was just a bunch of hooligans getting tossed on natty ice and doing dumb shit, and then going home. It wasn't really a big deal. I mean, obviously it probably wasn't a great idea, but I'm not advocating drinking and doing drugs, guys, but walk your own fucking path, use some common sense, and you'll probably be okay. But where it started to get bad really is unfortunately after my kid was born. And this is not his fault, so Caden, don't be pissed at me. Number one, not your fault, okay? So don't. Number two, I was a young father, so I was trying to balance this life where I could still go out and party with my friends and then attempt to learn how to raise a baby. So luckily my mom did help a significant amount, which I am forever thankful for that, because I really was in way over my head. I was very, very immature. I should not have had a kid at that age. I could barely take care of myself, that's just, it was a fact, so, but had a kid, still tried to live on both sides of the fence, right? We'll use that analogy because it's kind of easy to visualize. I thought, if you keep a balanced lifestyle, you'll be okay. How bad could it get, right? Well, it can, and it will get bad if you let it, for sure. But a lot of it has to deal with, how much, how often, who you associate with, right? Like, for me and my buddies, I mean, went from drinking out at the riverbed to drinking at my apartment, or no, well, we had wild ass house parties in Palmer where we just wreaked havoc. And I would have hated being my neighbor because we were dicks, and I mean we really pushed the bounds of decency to a whole new level. We were dumb kids, we were dumb punk kids, and that doesn't make it any better, but that was just what happened. But where it started to kind of come apart was obviously after my son was born, and I spent a lot of time at work, and I spent a lot of time at the house. That's what you do with a baby. So, a lot of my friends didn't really come by anymore because they didn't have kids or a kid. There was like maybe 2 or 3 of them that had a kid, and like I said, I was still trying to live on both sides of the fence. So I would have my degenerate friends at my house around my kid, and we'd be drinking and trying to maintain this lifestyle, even though it wasn't a good idea. But as that progressed, it was still manageable. I mean, it really was. But we were definitely picking up the levels of ridiculous behavior. Trying to figure out what combinations would get you more fucked up. And the things that we would do, we got dumber and dumber and dumber. And there was one party where we had a brilliant idea to blow flames off my hand. Well, it went well in the apartment, so let's do it again out in the parking lot. And it went well the second time, and we did it off both hands. But the third time, a little too much fluid, burnt the shit out of my arms. There's a cell phone video somewhere around here, but that was the level that we were going. We were constantly pushing and pushing. And I probably should have sobered up, because probably would have saved myself a significant amount of pain and trouble over the years, but I didn't. I just didn't. I just kept going and going. I ended up getting stabbed in Indiana. That didn't stop it. One of my friends got murdered. That didn't stop it. Got a DUI. That didn't stop it. And I probably should have learned after that, but nope. And I'll tell you, and I'm not saying getting a DUI is cool by any means, because it's not. That particular night, I was actually going to pick up a friend. I was perfectly fine at the house, and then I drank while I was at the bar, and that's where I fucked up. But I can tell you that night in particular, my capacity for understanding the seriousness of the thing that I just did was diminished, because when you shush a cop and gently put your fingers on his lip while he's talking, that definitely is an expedited ticket straight to jail. Like, they don't like that shit. That's not funny to them. Hilarious to me, but not funny to them. But what are you gonna do, right? So that was 2009, and I moved away from Alaska eventually 2011, and I continued to drink, but I didn't know anybody, so I started to isolate. And when I started to isolate, that's when my mental illness, I guess, started to kind of pronounce, really, I guess. I wouldn't call it a full-blown mental illness, but probably some shit that I needed to get looked at. And I had been through some things that really just made it worse and worse. And, the way that my thought process worked, I just buried that shit and I didn't deal with it. I just refused to talk about it and just got shit-faced. And that's a terrible way to deal with things. So, wasn't until basically I couldn't take anymore. It was at the end of my wits. I had nothing left, no gas, that I decided to get sober, and I went about it weird. I did. My brother urged me to go to AA. AA worked for my brother. It still works for my brother. He agrees with the fellowship. It's his thing. It's good for him. Not so much me. Other people try to get me to go to it. I can't do it. I can't do the AA thing. And, for some people, it's not for them. So you got to kind of find your own path, your own journey. And I did take a lot more advice and meaningfulness from NA, and I think NA probably matches me a little bit more because I am not your typical drug addict. I will, back then I would just get tore up on anything. I didn't care if it was painkillers, laughing gas, mushrooms, whatever you were offering, I was in. I mean, it could have been a wool sock and some gold paint. As long as I didn't have to be in my head, I was willing to do it. Because fuck it, what was the worst that was going to happen, right? Well, a lot of bad shit happened, really. But here we are. And I'm coming up on 4 years. It'll be 4 years in July. So I'm kind of working my own program, and now I'm at a level where I'm comfortable mentoring and giving advice to people. Now, one of the purposes behind the book is to eventually parlay that into public speaking and working with the sobriety or the sober culture and people trying to find a better way and a better life. That's the direction I'm shooting for. But as it currently stands, I'm still working my own version of steps. So I am still making repairs to myself and making amends and working through a lot of bullshit that I stirred up in my own personal life. And, I did it to myself. So, got to fix it, right? So, what I will tell you is that sobriety is a lot simpler than you think it is. See, because for me, I thought that you can magic pill your way out of this shit. I thought if God will just give me one chance, I'll start over and I'll be fine. And I won't do it again, I promise. But that's probably a lie. There is no magic pill. There's nothing that I'm aware of that is going to stop the downward spiral into absolute hell that you will go through until you are ready. I mean, my mom begged me, my aunt, my sister, my friends, and then I just didn't listen. I didn't listen because I didn't want to hear their shit. They're not an expert in my life. My life as a whole was going well because I was still working and, and I could afford this, and I had all these excuses. And I was a dick about it, to be honest. I didn't really want to hear anybody's opinion because in my mind, my life was significantly better than others that were trying to give me their advice. And I didn't have to listen to them because, well, they weren't on the same level as me. And, why should I listen? In retrospect, that's pretty fucking rude, to be honest. But that's how it was. And to those people, I'm sorry. I will spend the rest of my life trying to make up for it. But if I'm not forgiven, I'm not forgiven. That's how that goes. But I do believe in finding a mentor and finding something that works for you. You have to find something to fill that void. And for me, I really had to start interacting and talking about it to start actually healing. So, first recommendation is obviously find professionals, licensed clinical professionals that can help you, because I'm just some fucking guy on the internet or some guy you might have worked with on a job. I don't really know much. What works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But if you want to have an open and honest conversation about it, I'm here, dude. Hell, especially come to me if you're at the point where you're looking at taking your own life because you just can't handle it anymore, or you just don't have any clue on how to start the process. I'll do my best to help you, but obviously I'm not a licensed professional, so take that with a grain of salt. But for me, like, I kept it simple. I didn't overcomplicate shit. I wasn't looking for an outside fix to an internal problem. That's a lot of our problem. We're assuming that we can magic pill our way out of it, and that's just not how it works. People can pray for you, they can whatever, coach you, but if you're not ready, you're not gonna do it. I mean, that's just how it worked with me. And I wasn't ready until I was ready. So, then I got ready. What did work, was obviously being more open and honest, journaling, oddly enough, writing down all the shit that was bothering me. Big help. Counting my days, challenging myself to go, one more day or one more week or one more month, and celebrating those as wins. It's important to have a good support network around you that can celebrate those wins with you. Because doing it alone sucks. It's awful. It's kind of depressing, So, yeah, finding a good support network is obviously useful. And then, just be honest. Be honest about it. My stepbrother, Jeremy, we have the same name. I know. Ha ha ha. Not my fault. Okay? Stepdad's kid. Born before me. He actually gave me my 1-year chip. And it was actually his 1-year chip. And he got that 1-year chip from another dude. That 1-year chip is in a display case at my house. And I've kept it since I got it. But I kept it in my pocket for a year. And that's what started, what I do now. And every year, I change out the chip. I keep it in my pocket for the entire year. Right here. 3 years right there. I get the same kind of chips. I keep it in my pocket for the entire year. Sometimes they get washed in the washing machine and dried, but hey, Downy fresh. But yeah, that's just how I do it. And honestly, it doesn't really matter how you do it. It's doing it. I mean, get off your ass and make the change. If you really want to make the change, you will stop making the excuses and you'll get to work. That's just how that is. It's very easy to get caught up in this stuff. It's very easy to get lost in this stuff because it's so readily available. And every aspect of our life, it's treated as an enhancement, for fun. You see a commercial. You don't ever see sad people drinking on TV. You just don't. Because that wouldn't sell shit. They're always having a good time. There's always super hot chicks and, crack into a Coors Light and all these bikini babes will pop out of coolers. Yeah, well, that might happen somewhere, but more often than not, if you're drinking Coors Light, it's because you're broke. And probably not very many bikini babes hanging out around there, but whatever. But yeah, find a support network. Find somebody that you can talk to about it. Big help. Find shit that works for you, man. Not everything works for everybody else. That's why when I'm trying to mentor somebody, I tell them specifically the way I got sober probably won't work for you. You can try it, but it probably won't work for you because I did it my way. And let me tell you, I have a knack for doing things possibly the hardest possible way, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So just keep your options open. But if you want to get sober, get sober. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's very rewarding. Life gets so much better. But if you don't, but if your friend does or your parent does, support them in this. I make it very clear that anybody that hangs out with me is still allowed to drink around me. It doesn't bother me. Don't make it fucking weird. All right, you're an adult. I'm not gonna ruin what your time is because I fucked up my life. That's not fair. So, maybe that doesn't work for other people, but for me, it doesn't bother me. Y'all keep doing your thing, I'm gonna keep doing my thing, and that's just how it is. So that's my take on it, guys. Like I said, anxiety and shit has really kept me from doing a lot of these videos, and I'm getting more and more comfortable. So I'm gonna start trying to make more of them. I'd rather be doing funny ones, but I think we got to get the serious ones out of the way, or pepper in funny ones and serious ones. I don't know. We're figuring out things, and keep in mind, I'm getting used to the editing and the thumbnails, and so any critiques, or if anybody knows actually how to use some of this stuff and can explain it, please help a brother out. Come on. I'm an old dude. I can't figure this shit out. So anyway, guys, love you. Stay safe. Don't do anything dumb. And if you do dumb things, record it and put it on YouTube. Maybe you'll get famous. I'm kidding. That's terrible advice. Don't do that. All right. Be safe. Love y'all. Bye.